Hey everybody, I am Dr. Alia Kaneaiakala. I'm the clinical director here at Phoenix Rising, and I just thought I'd do a video about why living in a pandemic is so hard. In my practice, I've watched and tracked people over the weeks go through different experiences and the levels of fear and anxiety that have shown up for everyone, the different types of worries, the anger, the frustration, and then some of the stuff that have been hard for people to put their finger on over time. So today I thought I would talk about existentialism, because it's one of my favorite topics. So existentialism is the idea that we are all aware from the moment that we're born that we only have so many heartbeats left, that we'll only have so many breaths, and we don't know when all of that will end. And within existentialism is just that awareness of life. And with it comes 4 different tenets. One of them is the fear of death. Another one is the fear of isolation, the fear of meaninglessness, and then the fear of freedom, which I'll get to that one last because it's really interesting. So as I say those, I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We're in a pandemic, people are dying. So it means that any ability that most of us have to go through our daily lives and not think about death or have it on the forefront of our mind is kind of wiped away. It isn't great for the human psyche to be so aware of death. And that's why whenever we have a loss or we fear someone dying or we go through our death anxiety at a very young age and hopefully come out of it in a natural type of way around like the age of like 4 or 5. But if a child experiences a loss, whether it's a goldfish or a grandparent at that time, then the idea of death becomes scarier because it's an abstract concept. We can't really take it in at that point. So we hope to allow kids to get through that phase in that time easily, smoothly, and learn about loss in what's an age-appropriate type of way. And when something bigger happens, they can be impacted. Well, the rest of us, like as adults or even the teens out there, being too aware of death and the idea of our lives ending or other people's lives ending can bring out some different components of ourselves. It can bring out anger, it can bring out a type of fear. A lot of controversy out there, a lot of angry people about people not wearing masks. One of my friends got yelled at because she did wear a mask going into Target with her boys. And it's not about the mask, but what it symbolizes. Does it stop death? Will it stop death? I mean, we hope it does. But death has been a part of this pandemic, and so it brings up the idea of the loss of life for each of us and what it means to be alive and what it means to die. Probably nobody entered into 2020 thinking that this was going to be a year like this at all. And seeing so many different people lose loved ones or have an end of life, or just even having the fear of it coming close to our own homes can really throw people off. The second tenet of existentialism that would be impacting everybody right now is isolation. And, to lose the ability to go too many places, to be locked in, to have less access to our loved ones, to our friends, our family that aren't in our immediate families or living with us. A lot of people are feeling isolated. We need acquaintances. We need other people in our lives. We need friends. We need the person that we chat to at the store. And the times that I have gone into a Costco or a Target or a grocery store and I have my mask on, I almost feel strange talking. I feel less available or less accessible to others. Like it's not as easy to start a conversation. It's like a new practice. I have to get used to talking in a mask. And so it can be isolating on its own. But isolation is happening for a lot of people. Their schedules have changed. Just some of the normal interactions we have on a day-to-day basis are different. Or the freedom to go to a friend's house or have a play date or go visit the grandparents. That's all changed. So people are impacted by that too. Isolation can lead to feeling very alone. And there is a lot of fear and a lot of depression that can strike with that. So I know it's been all over like social media, or people have been activists on this, but please like reach out to others, stay in conversations. You might feel tired, you might feel down, you may feel like, oh, what's the point? Which will go into meaninglessness, our next tenet. But please reach out to other people. It's necessary right now. Send a text, send a silly meme, I don't care what it is, but like reach out and know that this together yet alone sort of movement that's going on, let's make it even stronger than that. Like, it's just that we aren't alone. Physical contact is important, but knowing that you're cared for and that someone is important to you and that you're important to them, that we have meaning, that we are remembered, is the most important part of it. So it goes into meaninglessness. A lot of people have had a switch up in how they're doing their jobs or interacting with others, and it can bring up almost that old Groundhog's Day movie about what people can and can't do. Or our days are marked with we work and then we go play on the weekends, and a lot of that play has been interrupted. Here in Southern California, some things opened up and now they're closing again, which can bring a lot of anger about when we get a little bit of freedom, the next tenet that I'll talk about in a second, and then we lose it again. It's almost worse than had we gained it before. And I'm not having an opinion on that or how it's all been run. I'm just explaining some of the process, just for the sake of information. This isn't about my views at the moment. This is just the psychological realm, or like what's going on for people. Meaninglessness, a lot of people's activities, graduations, birthdays, all the things that come with celebration, which are so important to mark the calendar year, they bring meaning to us. It's in the joy, it's our accomplishments, it's what we do, it's how we have a purpose, it's how we leave a legacy in this world. The ways that we can find meaning when some of our realms have been taken away from us is to pick up a new hobby, make sure you're communicating, journal, reading, take in information, teach yourself something new at this point. Have a drive, whether you know what you're having a drive for or not. I teach dance on the side. It's been a passion of mine, and I have to show up for those Zoom dance classes every week because I can't not. I need to be there. I need to show up for my clients. I need to still know that I'm able to provide some inspiration or piece of information to someone, anything, but it's also part of connecting too. So find ways to get yourself through this time and realize that whether we're doing something or not doing something, we still have meaning because we are living, breathing human beings, and we all have purpose. We may not feel it every day. We may not know what it is every day, and that part doesn't matter. But the truth is that we do. Every human being that's here matters. It's bigger than us to decide the when or the why or the how. But each of us matters. So hold on to your meaning, find ways to enjoy. I had a professor that used to say a good day is one where we work a little, we play a little, and we love a lot. And that's where the meaning comes in, is our connection to others and our connection to ourselves, like knowing that we have our purpose. So the last tenet is existentialism is freedom. The truth is that freedom, true freedom, cannot exist without responsibility, and we have to take responsibility for all our choices. When some other entity is taking the responsibility away from us, it isn't true freedom. And so different people are reacting to things being closed or taken away, policies being made because it doesn't feel like a freedom. Because at this point, I believe some people would agree, and if you don't, that's okay. You can bypass what I'm about to say. But some of our freedoms are going to impinge upon other people's freedoms. And so it's not our individual choices anymore. It's those that are more of a collective group. And nobody's really been through this sort of experience before to know how to handle it perfectly. And sometimes we've probably been behind the curve in a lot of ways. But the most important part is knowing that most of our freedoms have been touched upon. And we aren't always getting to take the responsibility to even have a choice. And whether we want to risk our lives or not, right? We would all hope to not want to risk our lives or someone else's, but some people are out there pushing for the freedoms. They want to take the responsibility for it. And that's one of the existential tenets. Like, people are driven in different ways. I'm not here to say anything is right or wrong. Again, it's not a political type of message. This is just to understand it. when we feel like our freedoms have been impinged upon. Viktor Frankl wrote Man's Search for Meaning, and he survived the internment camps. And he talked about the one freedom that could never be taken away was his own choice of thought, his dreams, his visions, his imagination. And he had to imagine that his family was still alive so that he would survive. He had to imagine that he was going to get through it. He had to go into like fantasy components and play with thought in his head because it was the one freedom that wasn't taken away. So again, I wish everyone the ability to stay in gratitude for what we do have every day. That I start to get a little grumpy about this, I remind myself I'm not in an internment camp. I have my family, we get to all live together, we have a roof over our head, we have food. So I try to stay in the gratitudes for what we have, but not dismiss my feelings of how it is hard, how it's hard on my friends, how it's hard on my family, how it's hard on my children. That one gets my heart every time. That one's a hard one to watch little ones grow up in this. I'm going to do another video, another part of this segment, and I'll talk about that, helping our kids through this time, and giving them just the right amount of awareness of what's going on, but without adding fear, more than probably is already there. But in our freedoms, like, plan things for the far off future and prepare yourself. And we're all having lessons on disappointment, trips that have been canceled, things that can't be celebrated, the graduation parties that didn't happen. But we still have to celebrate ourselves. We still have to have things to look forward to, because that's part of our freedom. So envision things for a couple of years from now, make a list, work on those bucket lists, work on those vision boards, like make it all possible for yourselves. I just want our society to stay as safe and healthy, and if positivity can work with that and some awareness of where we're all at and why pandemics are hard, because nobody knew what it could feel like until we got here. So again, I'm Dr. Alia Kaneaiakala at Phoenix Rising. If anybody needs anything, you can reach out to myself or my husband Ben, and we're just here to help. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to give this video a like, please do. Yeah, and I hope everyone's getting through this the best that you can. Take good care of yourselves.